Hi, Tim Helming from Comm Academy and Seattle ACS here, and today I'm going to talk to you about the kind of ridiculous amount of communications power I've got in this little briefcase and this tripod. So let's take a look. All right, now inside that briefcase, you can't see it right now, is a laptop. That'll come out a little bit later. But what have we got here? We've got a setup for HamWAN, which I'll explain a little bit more about as we go along. We've got a VoIP phone, we've got a power source for all of this, we've got a DMR hotspot, we've got a handheld that does DMR as well as analog, and we've got a few accessories and odds and ends to connect all those things together. So let me assemble it all and then we'll continue the tour. All right, we seem to be in business here. So let's see. Let's start off with DMR because there's a DMR conversation going on right now over the DMR hotspot. We've got a couple of folks talking on the Limark, that's from Long Island, New York area. They're talking on that talk group. Maybe they just wrapped up a second ago. So DMR is getting its signal through that hotspot. That goes over the internet, right? So let's talk about the internet. This is my HamWAN dish. It is getting its signal from this building over here that you can see between the trees there. It's a couple miles away from you. Got a pretty good line of sight. Don't quite have that line of sight from home. I wish I did, but this is pretty close to my home, short walking distance. Okay, so the signal from HamWAN goes down into this Wi-Fi router. The Wi-Fi router is delivering that Wi-Fi connectivity to the DMR hotspot, also to the VoIP phone there, also to the laptop there. So let's play with the VoIP phone.
Landing departing runways 14 right and 14 left.
It's an automated pilot information system called ATIS from Boeing Field, which is nearby here. So there's our VoIP phone working. On a recent exercise, we had a bunch of ACS folks with these phones connected to HamWAN, talking all across the city to share reports and whatnot. So we've got our laptop now. There's WinLink up and running there. If you started off in WinLink, you probably got your practice using it over Telnet before you started trying to connect it to a radio. Normally we use WinLink over radios, but when we've got HamWAN at our disposal, we've got multi-megabit speed, and that's very useful for sending photos, videos, that kind of thing, which you might have to do in a disaster situation. So I could send a WinLink message right now over Wi-Fi from the laptop, talking to the Wi-Fi router, talking to HamWAN, talking to the world. Our HamWAN sites are reasonably hardened against power loss and various kinds of emergency situations, but of course we know that might not be available, and if it weren't available, then I would interface WinLink here through my signal link to the handheld, and then I could deliver messages either to an RMS gateway or to a peer who might be using the same setup over a peer-to-peer connection. So WinLink peer-to-peer, radio to radio, is very handy as well, and something a lot of folks are starting to get some practice on. So again, to recap, HamWAN is giving us IP connectivity. That's going over the 5 gigahertz amateur allocation, so very glad that we have that part of the microwave spectrum to work with. And my IP connectivity is powering DMR hotspot, powering the VoIP phone, powering the WinLink Telnet connection on the laptop. So very versatile, very useful. If you live in an area that has HamWAN available, I strongly recommend getting a setup for it. This was not terribly expensive. This dish is about, I don't know, I think $50, maybe less than that. You can get a Wi-Fi router like this. If you get it used, you can probably get it for $20. So you can get a real valuable communications package set up for not very much money at all. So this is WT1IM back to net, as it were.